Hey folks, welcome to this video. I'm going to redo the other video because it was absolutely horrible after listening to it. You could barely hear what I was saying. So we'll have another iteration. And I'm at home now, so it's a little bit quieter. So only my kids screaming. Okay, so if we have a look at the new configuration options, there are just a few modifications. As you all know, last version I introduced enable deep zones, which is essentially telling the robot to begin cascading entries above supply or below demand. So if we look at this one just here, instead of putting the first entry in at the low of this area of supply, it'll start putting it at the high of this area of supply. So as we talk about many times, and we've discussed this many times in the symposiums, you have a price, the origin of a move, of this move, the origin is here. Then you ask yourself the question, well, what is the most expensive price retraced to before it left? And it traced to this area just here. So this is essentially the beginning of this sell zone. So this is where you want to start to sell. So by enabling deep zones, the robot is going to take this into consideration and it's going to start selling at the highs here. So if we just enable that quickly, just to have a wee butchers of what that looks like. Let's put this to true. See how we do. Just go like this and enable it, and we should start selling from the high and higher. Okay, there we are. So there was just chucked in there at the high there. So we have our emergency stop. So if everything goes pear-shaped, we are going to throw 1/100th of a percent. Sorry, no, 1/10 of a percent of our accounts, which is fine. And here we have our initial targets. So this one here, number 1, and TP2 is down here. So this is really cool. So I know a lot of people like to trade without stops, but I can't really sleep very well at night, and so I just like to ensure that I have an emergency stop that's just really far away from price, because price should react to this area. If it doesn't and it keeps going, then I want to get stopped out and not lose the farm. So here we have our first target, which is, these are tiny positions. We have the first one there, the second one there. We have our emergency stop, which is risking a very small amount of this account. This is actually a live account I can see. So that's not too bad. This is my robot testing live account. So this is really nice. If we have another look at another one, so we have this here. Let's turn this to, we'll leave that for true actually. And I have another one here which is really nice, and the reason I like this is because it really slows things down, which is super important. And so when this is set to true, the current chart, the software is not going to look at this and iterate all of these currency pairs. It's going to look at the chart that the robot is currently attached to, which is the Euro USD daily chart. So this is true. Set this to OK. And we go to another chart like the pound USD. And then we can enable it, and it should start putting in orders at the high of this area of supply and higher. So if we just flick this on, and there you are. So it really slows things down. And some of you have been writing in the room, the robot's putting in orders at areas that don't really make sense. And this is probably because your MT4 terminal has not downloaded the historical data that is required in order for the robot to make trading decisions. So if you have exotics, maybe the data isn't there. And so the robot's doing what it can, but you have to be very careful. And essentially, when you drag a pair onto a chart like this, you can see this number down here changes a little bit, and this is because it's downloading historical data. So if we look here, we have a couple, so we have this area of supply. So if I flick this on, I mean, it should be cascading orders from this high and above. And we can't because we don't have enough pairs. Let's put this on to 8, for example, like so, and it should, there we are. So now we have the robot chucking in these orders at the high of this area of supply, which is super. And so it slows things down a lot. So if I'll disable the robot again, we'll go to another pair. Let's find something that doesn't have the dollar in it, the Euro Aussie. We have a look, and what do we have? Well, we have this area, and so ideally we should be selling according to the interest rate swaps, and there's nothing really above price now. We have these two areas here. So we can go to a higher time frame, or a smaller time frame, and we can identify these areas here. We'll go to the smaller time frame, and we'll just sort of have my son and his friend over playing. So we have these two up here. So if we enable this, we should start looking at this first area, or maybe this one, depending on what it figures out. Let's put this up to 10. And the robot will start chucking in orders. Come on, robot, do something clever. It didn't do it for that one. Let's find another one. Maybe there are too many orders there. So let's go to the daily on this one. Okay, here. So we should start looking here. So I'll enable it. Okay, and it found this one in here. So here's like a micro area that the robot found that it thought would be pretty clever, and so it put some areas up here. We have our stop above the high. And we have our TP1 and TP2 here. So if I go to the 30-minute chart, I go to a very different pair, like this one here. Oops. Well, you see how it's doing this? It's kind of just chucking them in there. And so, I mean, it found this area. Not sure what area it found. It probably found maybe this one in here or this one here. I'm not sure, but it found an area that it thought. So it found these. Let's find another one here, just euro pound. Let's have a closer look. And you see that we have this area of supply here. So if I enable this, it should put them in at the highs here. So we have here and here. So here we have, and these are like 10 pips apart. Let's go from here to here. Yeah, 10 pips. And so this is what we can essentially see just here. So that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. And so these are essentially the main differences in this version of the robots. So we have the current chart, which is really, really cool. I like that. It slows it down. It enables you to do something that's paramount. So you go to the big time, you go to the weekly chart on the pair that you're interested in. You say, okay, cool, where do I want to start to buy? Well, down here would be pretty cool to start to buy at. And so maybe we want to say, okay, well, we'll start to. So my youngest is making a noise here. We'll set this to false. So now we're going to start buying from the upper edge of this area of weekly demand. So if I enable this, let me delete some of these. Just delete some of these quickly. Right, so we'll enable this. There we are. Oh, it's selling, isn't it? Okay, so it found the area of supply that is closer. So this area of supply, you can see, was established before this area of demand. And so because it's kind of in the neutral area, it doesn't matter if it's buying or selling. So it said, okay, I'll sell. And so it's going to start here. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I'm really liking this because it slows down the process. It makes us take a responsibility a little bit more than we otherwise would had we just flicked on the robot and let it do its thing, which I like. I really appreciate that. So if you go to, let's say, the pound, Japanese yen on this chart, what's it doing? I can see that it's probably going to start buying down here. So we'll flick this on. There it is. It put those in for us. So if we disable this and go to the daily chart, you can see that things, wow, this is a really nice area to start to buy. And so actually I'm going to leave these in there. It's probably some of the only ones I'm going to leave in during the holidays. I like this. I mean, we had this area of supply tested once, twice, almost gone 3 times. So I would expect this one to hold and to move up into this area just here. So this is a pretty decent area for us there. So I'm going to leave those in there. Let me delete the other ones. This is a pound yen. We'll delete this one. Super. So okay, if we have a look at something else, let's see the Aussie Kiwi. So you start your analysis on the big time frames. Okay, where are we? What do we want to do? This area of this monthly demand, price poked into it, and we started to react. So we want to start buying. So where do you want to buy? You want to buy at an area of demand that is looking pretty interesting. So we have this one just here. And so the robot can be used to put these orders in for you. Let's have a look at the Aussie yen. Here we have a nice carry trade. Go to the big time frames, the monthly chart. Price is reacting at this monthly supply, which means price is probably going to move away. And so here, you want to start to look for an area to sell. And you can see that we've kind of already poked into this area of daily supply once, twice. So you're going to go to the smaller time frames to find those areas. We have them here. So we'll flick this on like that. I'm going to disable. Let me disable this, unless it's already put orders in. There we are. So good. So now it put these orders in to sell at this area of supply, knowing that on the weekly we've moved through much of this, and look where this area of supply is located. It's in the thicket of this area of supply. Here we have this lovely area that this is looking pretty nice. See, here we have our emergency stop well above, risking a small portion of the account, and anticipation the price is going to continue to move lower from here. Okay, so I'll release this super soon, and you guys can use it. The main reason I did this is to slow things down, because it's just really easy to flick on the chart, turn it on, let it kind of iterate through all of the 28 pairs and put in a bunch of orders. But in my personal opinion, that's kind of suicide. So I'd like you guys to slow things down, do an analysis, at least a superficial analysis, so you know if you should be buying or selling on the bigger time frames, and use the robot to help facilitate opening orders. Cool, well, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely Christmas and New Year's. And this is probably the last video I'll be doing until January. Have any questions, put them in the pools channel or on the general channel, and I'll get to those. And I wish you all the very, very best for the remaining part of this season. I hope you have some lovely time with your families and your loved ones, and we will all meet up again in 2019. Thanks very much for watching.